Welcome to episode 133 of the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. I'm Brian Fisher. Are you a business owner or executive searching for practical strategies to grow your company? This podcast series focuses on the various subjects and topics to help you run a successful, profitable business and is targeted to business owners and C-suite executives. But anyone interested in business can benefit. It reflects my 34 years as a business owner and subsequent years as a business mentor and consultant. They're approximately 15 minutes long, so you can listen while commuting. In the previous episode, 132, our guest was Michael Barbarita, discussing leveraging the 80-20 rule. Today's episode discusses profitable digital presence with Shane Barker. Based out of Reno, Nevada, Shane Barker is the owner of TraceFuse, an innovative company revolutionizing the world of product reviews on Amazon. Let's welcome Shane Barker. Shane, welcome to the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business.
Brian, thank you so much for having me, and this is exciting.
Thanks for joining us today, Shane. Shane, I'm always interested in people's stories. What's your background in becoming the owner of TraceFuse, an innovative company revolutionizing the world of product reviews on Amazon?
Yeah, so I have a long history in the digital space. Obviously, I've been doing the digital thing for 20, 25 years. I'm talking about SEO, influencer marketing, all that stuff. But my journey with TraceFuse has been an interesting one. It started about five and a half years ago. Really, the goal was I had a lot of clients. I was doing a lot of direct-to-consumer, like D2C type stuff with my consulting firm at shanebarker.com. And I realized a lot of people were selling on Amazon, and I'd always wanted to have like a SaaS-based product, something where you can, like a software-based product. And so I started asking my clients, hey, what are your guys' biggest pain points at Amazon? And a lot of people said, hey, reviews. We have some issues with reviews. And so I said, well, you know what? I've done reputation management in the past. I used to work for a lot of celebrities down in Southern California. So I have a long history of that, and also working with restaurants and stuff for Yelp reviews and stuff. I thought, well, that's kind of in my wheel well, and let's see, what we can do. I was new to Amazon. And what I mean is I haven't been a seller or anything. So it was a brand new space. It's a whole new world. When you jump into a platform like that. But the good thing is since we've been live, we launched, it took us about 2 years to figure out how to file cases with Amazon. It was a long process to do it the right way and be fully compliant with Amazon. The good news is over the last three and a half years, we now have over 700 brands we work with, and we've removed over 16,000 reviews on Amazon, the Amazon platform. So we're very proud of that. The process for getting there was not easy, but then again, it never is as an entrepreneur. If it's easy, then you just got to, the wave's coming. You got to be careful. If it's too easy for you, then either A, something's going to be happening, or somebody else is going to come in and do it just as easily as you did. So there is some value as there being barriers to entry to be able to do what we can do. But we've been crushing it for our clients. We're excited.
Well, that kind of fits into this episode's topic, which is profitable digital presence. Why is profitable digital presence always a challenge?
Well, when it comes to the profitability and the digital side of things, I think what people do is they sometimes think that they need to be huge. What I mean by that is you need to have like 1 million followers on Instagram, or have 10 million subscribers on your newsletter or something. It really doesn't have to be that crazy. What you can do is, they always say, riches are niches, right? So it's a situation where you can go and you can drill down on some things that you've learned as an entrepreneur and things that you've done. There's courses you can sell. You don't need to sell a ton. Let's say if you wanted to create a course and it was $100, a month for the course. Well, if you had, 300 clients, that's a nice chunk of change. That's $30,000 a month. And that's 300 people, which is not too crazy if you think about how big the internet is and how many, what that takes. So like anything, it takes time, right? If you're going to build an empire, you're going to build anything. So don't expect to put something out there in the digital space and make, tons of money instantly. If you do, then you're very fortunate. But at the end of the day, it takes work. And so what I would look at is, if it's difficult to do, put a timeline on it of saying, hey, listen, I'm going to give this 1 year, right? Maybe I have enough money in my bank account to be able to ride this thing out to see what I can do. Or with TraceFuse, had my other business that was feeding that was being able to pay for that. So you just got to take a look at it and say, hey, you want to set some goals at the end of the day, and how much money do you want to spend? How much time are you going to spend? And then what do you want to make by that time? And you want to be realistic about those goals, right? But once again, you don't have to have millions of followers. I think that's a misconception. I used to do influencer marketing at UCLA. We talked about this a little earlier. I taught the course there and created the curriculum there. And I tell people, you don't need to have a crazy big following. In fact, it's almost better that you have a smaller following and they're more engaged than a huge following that's less engaged. So anyways, for me, the thing is planning for it, making sure you have the capital, dedicating yourself to a timeline, and then being very consistent on the content and the stuff that you put out there, and making sure that you're crushing it and good things will happen in the future.
We're speaking with Shane Barker, owner of TraceFuse, an innovative company revolutionizing the world of product reviews on Amazon. With over 2 decades of marketing, Shane has combined his digital marketing experience with the Amazon platform and the launch of TraceFuse. Over the past 5 years, the TraceFuse team developed a cutting-edge, 100% white hat system for negative review removal. TraceFuse is the first TOS-compliant solution for removing abusive negative reviews on Amazon. Now, let's get back to the questions. Shane, how can a business manage their online reputation and help improve their search visibility?
Yeah, so now there's a number of different ways you can do that. So if you're looking at people are talking about your company or yourself as an individual, there's a number of tools you can use. I mean, historically, we've always used Google Alerts, which was a thing that I don't know if it's around as much anymore. There's a thing, mention.com, there's Brand24. There's a lot of tools out there, especially now with AI. You can go out and put your name in certain search engines and they can send you reports and you can figure out the sentiment of what people are talking about your business or yourself. So those are very, it doesn't cost you a lot to be able to do that. I would highly recommend, if you're playing possum or blind to, visibility online and saying, hey, if I just ignore it, it won't happen. Well, it's still going to happen. People are still going to be out there talking. So you do want to make sure you're doing what you can to be able to stay visible and see what that looks like. Now, visibility online, there's a number of ways you can do that, right? I mean, you can do it through press releases talking about your business, which can get you some great exposure. You can do it by podcast interviews. Somebody like Brian here that can interview you, assuming if you have the right clout and you bring the right energy to the interview. There's so many different ways. What you just need to look at is, what I would do is I would look at who your competitors are, somebody that you look up to. They don't have to be in your space. And what are they doing to get exposure, to get online, right? And what does that look like? And then build out a little bit of a plan and say, okay, once again, how do I know when I get to the finish line? I want to be able to be on 3 podcasts a week for the next 3 months. And then we're going to recalibrate and see how much revenue that brought in. What is our call to action? What are the things that we need to do there? The goal is always to set goals to see, because that way you know if you hit the finish line or not.
Well, that leads right into this next question, which is a very long one, Shane. But how can businesses implement what works when it comes to influencer marketing, product launches, content marketing, sales funnels, targeted traffic, and website conversions?
Yeah, so it is a little difficult these days because you figure out what works. I mean, if you looked on LinkedIn, I can show you 100 different posts today on people are saying this is what works for whatever that is, right? What I would recommend, I mean, it's not a bad thing to read LinkedIn posts and, to follow the gurus or the people that are out there putting out content. What I would do is I would really, assuming you can afford it, is I would look for a mentor. That is going to be what my recommendation would be, is because at the end of the day, you really want to work with somebody that has a history of doing what you're looking for. And it might cost you a little bit more, but you're also not paving the way. You have somebody that's made the mistakes and done the good things and the bad things to be able to tell you, hey, this is a better way to go. Like, when I was younger, I was very hard-headed. If my wife can hear me, she probably confirms that maybe I'm still a little hard-headed, but that's okay. We all try to grow. But, at the end of the day, what you look at is, you can go and try to figure this out on your own, and maybe it takes you 6 months or a year and you figure it out. Or you could hire somebody to come in and say, hey, this is how we did things. Here goes the framework. Here goes the emails that we did. This is the things that we did that didn't work. These are the things that did work. You can accelerate that timeline by having somebody as a mentor, assuming they're, once again, have done what you're looking to do. There's huge value in that. But as I said, when I was younger, I was like, oh, I'll figure it out, which I did, but at a slower rate because I'm figuring it out. When I have somebody over here that I could pay, once again, assuming you have the capital for a mentor, that's obviously another variable to that, but it helps accelerate that timeline and be able to make that learning curve a lot smaller.
Shane, what results or lessons learned have you seen with businesses and individuals that have implemented your recommendations?
Yeah, so I mean, we've seen some amazing results. I mean, in regards to, just depends on what they're looking for, right? We always look at that when we talk about goals, or what we call KPIs, which are key performance indicators. Like, once again, what is going to make it so we get to the finish line? So that's what we always, with my clients, or when I talk with them before they're my clients, I go in and I say, okay, well, what are your goals? What are we looking at? What are the timelines? Let's look at the sales. What are we looking at? And what would be a huge win for you? So we have clients that, once we've set up that framework of understanding, hey, what would be I call it a big home run for them. They say a home run would be from, taking me from whatever, 50,000 in sales a month to 100,000. Okay, great. What is your budget for that? Great. My budget's whatever, $20,000. Okay, great. Now let's look at what you've done historically that has been successful. And let's take a look at the new stuff that you can do, and to be able to get that visibility and be able to convert those people. And then you build a plan out. So I've had clients. Actually, in the influencer space, Zoe Rodriguez was one of my first influencer clients. She was doing 43,000 a month just in selling ebooks, fitness ebooks. So these are all like, once you make a fitness ebook, there's no more cost to it, right? There's really nothing. It's not like a shirt where you have like a baseline cost. This was, once she'd created that, and we ended up getting her to, she was doing about $80,000 or $90,000 a month from the 43 when she came to us. We almost doubled her sales there. And we did that through a number of different techniques of, she had 5 ebooks. And what we did is, so you go buy an ebook, it's $20. Okay, that's great. When you're motivated to work out, we're all right. We go buy the equipment, we buy the shoes, we buy everything. I'm ready to work out. Now, whether we actually work out is a whole nother conversation, but at least you get the activities, you get all situated. So what we decided was, hey, why don't we figure this out where we have 5 ebooks? We'll give them away. 5 ebooks usually would have been $100. Now we give it to them for $50. So there's a 50% savings. Hey, and when you're excited about an ebook, now you get all 5 for $50 instead of 1 for $20. We were able to convert a lot more people, same amount of people coming through. We were just able to make that average, the lifetime value of those customers higher.
We're speaking with Shane Barker, owner of TraceFuse. Shane, is there anything I've not asked that you'd like to add?
No, man, this has been awesome, man. I really appreciate you taking the time today. It's an honor to be on the podcast. And once again, if anybody has any questions, there's 2 ways you can reach out to me. It's either tracefuse.ai, which is, obviously if you're in the Amazon space or an Amazon seller, we can help there with critical reviews. And my email there is just shane@tracefuse.ai, very easy. Or if you're looking on the digital side of things, obviously you can go to shanebarker.com. That's ShaneBarker. And guess what? If you put Shane in front of Shane Barker, so it's Shane@shanebarker.com, you've got my email address on that side as well.
Shane, thank you for joining us today on the BCF ORG podcast, The Business of Business. My sincere thanks to Shane Barker for joining us today. Managing the performance and future direction of your company are 2 of the most important things you do as a leader. And I'm here to help you. If you'd like to reach out to me for business mentoring or consulting, help you with a podcast, schedule a speaking engagement, or potentially be a guest like Shane, please go to bcforg.com. There's a red Contact Us button in the middle of the homepage. These podcasts will be released the first and third Tuesday each month. This podcast is available wherever you get your podcast. In search, type BCF ORG. Be sure to leave a space between BCF and ORG. I'm looking for this podcast to move from an upper mid-tier podcast to a top-tier podcast. Please leave a positive review, let your friends and colleagues know about it, and don't forget to like, subscribe, or follow the podcast. Join us for our next episode, 134, when our scheduled guest will be Atiba De Souza, discussing the delegation trap. It's not them, it's you. In business, running a successful, profitable business is the ultimate scorecard. You are never done and can always be better. It tends to be more fun than work, frustrating at times, but can be very rewarding. From BCF ORG Corp., I'm Brian Fisher, wishing you the best. Thanks.